And these stories, I must say, are not unique to South Korea or Ukraine. These are the norm, not the aberration. So here's what I'll say. Devotion is not quantified by display. You do not need to attend Sunday masses, fight the crowd at a temple, or queue up outside a mosque to show your love and respect for God. Faith is personal. And who is supposed to know this better than religious leaders? Which religious text, which holy book in the world preaches risking the lives of others? None. What then was the need to hold so many religious gatherings in the middle of a pandemic? I understand that during hard times, a lot of us turn to faith. But does attending religious gatherings, violating social distancing, solve anything? Does it help in mitigating the crisis? It does quite the opposite. You now know what happened in South Korea. In India too, a religious gathering blew the Wuhan virus crisis out of proportion. A Muslim missionary movement called the Tablighi Jamaat organized a 3-day event in the middle of the pandemic. The event was held in New Delhi. It was attended by at least 8,000 people from India and abroad. The result was disastrous. To put it in numbers, nearly a third of India's total cases by the first week of April were related to the Tablighi Jamaat event. And you know what? Despite all the politics and the hue and cry that followed this outbreak, religious leaders went ahead and repeated the very same mistake 4 months later. In the month of July, thousands gathered in the religious town of Puri for the annual Jagannath Yatra. Social distancing was flouted left, right and centre. What was the need for all of this? If you quickly rewind through the year that's been, you will also find more than a handful of religious events where people accepted and adapted to the new normal. They spent Easter at home, Passover in balconies, celebrated Baisakhi on video calls, spent Ramadan at home. These images were sobering. But some others were scary. The Tablighi Jamaat event and the South Korean churches. What's done cannot be undone. But we can draw lessons from it. And what better time to reflect than now? Europe is in the middle of what's being called a very serious situation. At least half of the EU countries are seeing a rise in cases. Spain has over 6,25,000 cases. France, more than 4,15,000 cases. Italy, nearly 300,000 cases. Spain is mulling a lockdown. Several other countries are likely to follow. Europe is bracing for a second wave of infections. Countries like Israel are heading back to the lockdown. The UK is considering the same. We can only hope that history does not repeat itself. I'll end with this. Let faith empower you into fighting the pandemic, not blind you into making the situation worse.